It's more than just a game. It's more than grass, goals, or glory. Football, or soccer, depending on where you live, is a language spoken without words. It's a rhythm played by bare feet on dusty ground and polished boots in billion-dollar stadiums. But where did it begin? How did this game, this global obsession, rise from ancient rituals to dominate the dreams of nations? To understand football's present, we must walk back into its forgotten past. Not just to stadiums and trophies, but to stone streets, battlefield training, forbidden village games, and sacred rituals. Because the beautiful game wasn't born in one place, it was born everywhere. And it never belonged to one people. It belonged to all of us. Ancient origins, the first kicks, long before whistles and crowds, long before rules or nets, there were feet and something to chase. The earliest known version of football traces back over 2,000 years to ancient China, where a military training exercise called kuju, literally meaning kick ball, was played. A leather ball, stuffed with feathers, was kicked through a net. No hands allowed. Soldiers used it to train coordination and discipline, but it was also performed in royal courts, a sport that bridged war and spectacle. Meanwhile, in Japan, a similar but more ceremonial version existed called kemari. Players stood in a circle, passing the ball using precise kicks, trying to keep it airborne. There were no winners or losers. It was a dance of control and harmony, often played under cherry blossoms in silk robes. In ancient Greece, the game was rougher. Known as episkiros, it involved two teams and physical contact, closer to rugby than modern football. And in Rome, soldiers played a variant called harpastum, brutal and chaotic, but designed to strengthen agility and morale. Across cultures and continents, the act of chasing, kicking, and controlling a ball became universal, instinctive, a symbol of play, war, and identity. But these early versions, though powerful, were unconnected. Football, as we know it, had not yet been born. 2. Medieval chaos, the folk games of Europe. In the muddy villages and cramped streets of medieval Europe, football re-emerged, wilder, louder, and far more dangerous. Known simply as mob football, it had no standard rules, no referees, no boundaries. The goals were sometimes miles apart, from one village gate to another. Entire towns would take part, charging through fields, rivers, and homes. It wasn't uncommon for people to be injured, or worse. In England, these games became legendary. Shrove Tuesday, in particular, was known for wild matches, where blacksmiths, bakers, and farmers fought for control of an inflated pig bladder. The ball was kicked, thrown, hidden, and often never recovered. It wasn't a sport. It was a ritual, a celebration, a release. The violence became so widespread that kings and clergy tried to ban it. Edward II, in 1314, issued a royal proclamation. There is great noise in the city, caused by hustling over large balls, from which many evils may arise. He wasn't wrong. Windows were shattered, property was destroyed, but the people played anyway. And so football survived, not in stadiums, but in back alleys and farmlands, not through organization, but through passion. By the 16th and 17th centuries, different schools and regions had developed their own versions of the game. Some allowed handling the ball, some didn't. Some played on grass, others on cobbled streets. But something was brewing beneath the chaos, a need for structure, and the birth of modern football was just around the corner. 3. Codifying the chaos. The birth of modern football. The 1800s in England were a turning point. The Industrial Revolution brought people into cities. Education expanded, and in elite schools like Eton, Harrow, and Rugby, football became part of the curriculum. But every school played by different rules. At Rugby school, handling the ball was allowed. At Eton, it wasn't. Disagreements over how to play led to fierce debates and confusion when schools played against each other. In 1863, a group of representatives from various clubs met at the Freemasons' Tavern in London to resolve the chaos. Their mission? To create a single, unified rulebook for the game. Thus, the Football Association, FA, was born. This moment is considered the official birth of modern football. The rules they wrote outlawed the use of hands, officially separating football from rugby. It also introduced the first regulations about pitch size, goal structure, and the beginnings of fair play. Clubs began to form. Sheffield FC, founded in 1857, is recognized as the oldest football club in the world. Soon, others followed: Notts County, Aston Villa, Liverpool, and more. The game grew from gentleman's hobby to working-class passion. Factories sponsored teams. Communities found pride in their clubs. The beautiful game had found its shape, and it was ready to travel. Therefore, spreading like fire, the global expansion of football. As the British Empire expanded across continents, so did its games. British sailors, merchants, engineers, and soldiers brought football to Africa, South America, Asia, and Europe. In Argentina and Uruguay, dock workers formed the first local clubs. In Italy and France, foreign workers played matches after long shifts. By the late 1800s, clubs were popping up everywhere, many with English names but local passion. The first international football match was played in 1872 between Scotland and England, ending in a 0-0 draw. But soon, other nations followed. Competitions emerged between clubs across borders. In 1904, the Fédération Internationale de Football Association, FIFA, was founded in Paris. It began with just 7 members: France, Belgium, Denmark, Netherlands, Spain, Sweden, and Switzerland. Their goal? To organize international football and create a world tournament. Little did they know, they were building what would become the most watched sporting event in human history. 5. Glory, tragedy, and the rise of legends. The first FIFA World Cup was held in Uruguay in 1930. 13 nations participated. Uruguay won, and the people danced in the streets for days. Since then, the World Cup has become more than a competition. It's a mirror of the world, showing our beauty, our flaws, our politics, our dreams. 1950, Brazil hosts the World Cup. The final match, Brazil versus Uruguay, at the Maracanã Stadium, with nearly 200,000 fans watching. Brazil only needed a draw to win. But Uruguay shocked the world. The stadium fell into silence. The Maracanazo was born, a national heartbreak that lives in Brazil's memory. 1986, Mexico. A young Argentine named Diego Maradona scored the most controversial goal in history, the hand of God, followed by the most beautiful goal ever scored. In 10 seconds, he dribbled past 5 defenders to find the net. A genius, a villain, a god in cleats. Pelé, Zidane, Ronaldo, Messi, Marta, Alexia Putellas, and countless others have become not just athletes, but cultural icons, uniting nations in celebration and tears. Through wars, pandemics, and revolutions, football has continued, sometimes stopped, but never silenced. Today, football is played in over 200 countries, over 250 million players, billions of fans, and a single language. A ball, two goals, 90 minutes, and a dream. From warriors kicking leather bladders on ancient fields to children juggling balls in favelas. From monks painting rules in dim candlelight to stadiums shaking with the roar of nations, football has never just been a sport. It is memory, identity, belonging. It is victory and heartbreak in the same breath. And it all began with a simple kick and a desire to keep the ball moving. This is the story of football, and it's still being written. Only on the Quiz Hub.